Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive.
Mm.
Um, Today, we're going to be looking at a concept that I think is going to resonate with a lot of you, and that is the idea of letting go,
Letting go.
not giving up,
Right.
but letting go of the things that we just can't control.
Yeah, it's funny because most of us, we spend so much energy trying to force outcomes,
Yeah,
manipulate situations, even control other people's choices.
right.
But what if I told you that that was actually making us more stressed and unhappy?
Let's dive into that.
What?
Why do we have this deep-seated need to control things that are ultimately outside of our influence?
Well, think about it, When we feel insecure, when we feel afraid, we naturally try to grip tighter onto these external factors. It's almost as if we're building this wall of control around us to feel safe.
Okay.
But the more we try to force things, the more we resist the natural flow of life. It's like trying to swim upstream. You're just exhausting
You're just
yourself.
creating turmoil and stress to yourself.
And that's where this idea of letting them comes in. And it's not about becoming passive. It's not about giving up on your goals, but it's about recognizing what truly falls within your sphere of influence and what doesn't.
So it's about being more discerning about where you're spending your energy and choosing your battles wisely,
Exactly.
focusing on the things that you can impact.
Exactly. So, for example, imagine you're constantly trying to fix your adult child's problems.
Right.
It's a natural instinct.
Of course.
But it can actually backfire because instead of empowering them to learn and grow from their own experiences, you're inadvertently reinforcing this dependence on you.
Wow. So in that case, letting them would look like stepping back and allowing them to kind of navigate their own path, even if it means making mistakes along the way.
Exactly. It's about trusting their ability to learn and grow from those experiences, even if it's uncomfortable for us to watch.
Right. And this whole concept of boundaries comes up a lot too. So how does that fit into this whole letting them framework?
Boundaries are essential, but not in the way that we usually think about them. It's not about controlling others. It's about clearly communicating your needs and limits so you can protect your own well-being while respecting their choices.
So it's about creating a healthy space for both individuals to kind of exist authentically without trying to force each other into a certain mold.
Exactly. And there's actually a fascinating study from Harvard that found that people who practiced acceptance techniques, including setting healthy boundaries, experienced like a 30% reduction in stress hormones.
Wow.
It's like letting go actually allows your nervous system to relax.
That's amazing.
Uh-huh.
So there's actual scientific evidence to support this.
Yeah,
It's not just some kind of feel-good philosophy. It actually has an impact on our physical and emotional health.
absolutely. And this idea of letting go isn't just about relationships either. It's applicable in so many areas of life,
Okay.
from work to personal goals and even how we view ourselves.
I'm curious, how does this play out in like a professional setting? Most workplaces seem to be built on this whole idea of, control and micromanagement.
That's true. But imagine a workplace where instead of micromanaging every little detail, you focused on empowering your colleagues. You
Yeah.
know?
Okay.
Instead of stressing over every little thing, you trusted them to do their jobs and learn from their mistakes.
That sounds radically different from the typical corporate environment.
It is. It is. But studies actually show that empowering employees not only increases productivity,
Right.
but it fosters a more positive and collaborative work environment. It's a win-win for everyone involved.
Yeah, it really challenges that old model of, command and control.
Right.
What's amazing is that letting go in this way doesn't mean that you become a pushover or you lose sight of your goals.
Right.
It's just about understanding true leadership,
Okay.
inspiring others instead of controlling them.
So it's kind of a shift in perspective then.
Because I feel like so much of our anxiety comes from trying to force outcomes or make people fit into our expectations.
Absolutely. And that's where the concept of embracing authenticity comes in.
Okay.
So letting go of control also means letting go of that need to be perfect,
Right.
to present this certain image to the world.
Right.
It's about being comfortable with who you truly are, flaws and all.
That sounds incredibly liberating,
Right.
but also kind of scary. What if people don't like the real me?
Well, here's the thing. When you embrace your authentic self, you naturally attract people who resonate with that energy.
Okay.
Those are the relationships that are truly fulfilling and meaningful.
Right.
The ones that are built on genuine connection, not pretense.
So by letting go of that need to control how others perceive us, we're actually opening ourselves up to deeper, more authentic relationships.
Precisely. And the same principle applies to pursuing your passions and your goals.
Right.
So often we get caught up in this idea of having to do things a certain way
Right.
to follow this prescribed path. But what if you let go of that rigid plan and allow yourself to explore different possibilities?
It's like we get so focused on the destination that we forget to enjoy the journey.
Exactly.
And maybe even miss out on some unexpected detours that could lead to some pretty amazing discoveries.
Exactly. It's about trusting your intuition,
Okay.
taking risks, and being open to the unexpected twists and turns that life throws your way.
Right.
Sometimes the most fulfilling paths are the ones that we didn't even know existed.
That's true.
Yeah.
All this talk about letting go makes me think about mindfulness and how that plays into all of this.
Mindfulness is essential. It's about becoming more aware of your thoughts, your feelings, and your reactions, especially in those moments when you're tempted to grab for control.
So it's like hitting the pause button before we react impulsively
Yeah,
and giving ourselves a moment to choose a more conscious response.
exactly. And mindfulness actually helps to rewire our brains to become less reactive to stress triggers. It's like building a mental muscle that allows us to observe our thoughts and emotions without getting swept away by them.
So having that space is crucial
Right.
for making those conscious choices about what to engage with and what to just let go of.
Absolutely. It helps you discern, is this a battle worth fighting? Or is this something that I can just observe and allow to pass without letting it drain my energy?
Right.
Because that's the real benefit of letting go.
Okay.
You reclaim so much energy and mental bandwidth that was previously spent on trying to control the uncontrollable.
And then you can redirect that energy towards things that really matter to you,
Exactly.
like our passions, our relationships, our well-being.
Precisely. Instead of wasting energy on worry and anxiety and frustration,
Right.
you can channel it into creativity and joy and connection.
So it's not just about a happier life, it's also about a more resilient one.
Absolutely. Letting go cultivates resilience because you're no longer resisting the inevitable ups and downs of life. You know, you're flowing with them, you're adapting to change, and you're bouncing back from setbacks with more grace and ease.
So it's about accepting that life is going to throw us curveballs and learning to kind of ride the waves instead of trying to control the ocean.
That's a great analogy.
Thanks.
It's about surrendering to the uncertainty of life,
Okay.
knowing that you have the inner strength and the resources to navigate whatever comes your way.
You know, all this talk about letting go and surrendering might sound a bit abstract to some people. So do you have any practical examples of how we can actually put this into practice in our everyday lives?
Absolutely. The book is filled with relatable examples. So let's say you're constantly frustrated by your partner's habits.
Okay.
Maybe they leave their dirty dishes in the sink or forget to take out the trash. It's easy to fall into that trap of nagging or trying to control their behavior.
Oh, I think we can all relate to that.
Right. But instead of trying to micromanage their every move, what if you simply let them be?
Okay.
Let them make their own choices, even if it means dealing with a messy sink for a while.
It sounds counterintuitive,
Yeah.
but I can see how letting go of that need to control their every action could actually be really liberating for both parties.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that you can't force someone to change,
Okay.
but you can choose how you react to their behavior.
Right.
And often the most effective approach is to simply let go of the need to control and focus on creating healthy boundaries for yourself.
So it's about taking responsibility for our own happiness and well-being
Yes,
without trying to manipulate or control the other person.
precisely. It's about choosing your battles wisely
Okay.
and recognizing when a situation is truly beyond your control.
Right.
And that's where mindfulness comes back into play.
Okay.
By becoming more aware of your thoughts and your emotions, you can catch yourself in those moments where you're tempted to grab for control
Right.
and consciously choose a more empowering response.
So it sounds like this letting go, it's a continuous practice.
It is.
It's not something we achieve overnight, but it's a way of approaching life with more awareness, acceptance, and trust. Yeah, it does. It really does feel like a journey, one that requires a lot of patience
Yeah,
and self-compassion,
right.
like a willingness to really challenge those deeply ingrained patterns of control that we all have.
It is a process,
What?
but the rewards are so worth it. When you start to let go of that white-knuckled grip on life, you really open yourself up to a world of possibilities you might never have imagined.
Yeah, you trade in the illusion of control for a sense of freedom and flow and trust.
And that trust, that's where the magic happens. Because when you can truly surrender to the present moment without needing to manipulate or force things, you tap into this deeper sense of peace and joy and even creativity.
You know, one of the things that really strikes me about this whole concept is that it's not just about personal growth.
Right.
It really has the potential to kind of ripple outwards.
Yeah.
and create a more harmonious world.
Absolutely. When we release that need to control others, to judge them, to make them fit into our own narrow definitions of who they should be,
Right.
we create space for empathy, compassion, and genuine connection.
It makes you think about what the world would be like if everyone felt empowered to be their authentic selves,
Right.
and where differences were celebrated and where we approached conflict with more understanding and less judgment.
It's a beautiful vision.
It is.
And it starts with each of us,
Right.
individually choosing to let go of that need to control.
And embracing a more accepting and compassionate way of being.
Yeah.
This has been such an insightful deep dive. I feel like we've gained a whole new perspective
Me too.
on how to approach life's challenges with a little more grace and ease.
It's been a joy exploring these ideas with you.
Likewise.
I hope our listeners feel inspired to start incorporating some of these principles into their own lives.
And speaking of our listeners, for those of you who are eager to learn more and really dive deep into this whole concept of letting go, we have a special treat for you.
We do. We have a link in the show notes where you can access the full audiobook of The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins, absolutely free.
Audiobooks are such a great way to learn while you're on the go,
Absolutely.
whether you're commuting or exercising or just relaxing at home. And they also make a really thoughtful gift for anyone who might benefit from this message of letting go.
Absolutely.
And if you are enjoying these deep dives and finding them valuable, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel and share this episode with your friends. Your support helps us to continue bringing you this kind of thought-provoking content and expand our reach.
Yes.
And most importantly, we invite you to reflect on this question. What is one area of your life where you could benefit from letting go a little? Maybe it's a relationship, a work situation, or even just an internal struggle that you've been holding on to. See what happens when you loosen your grip, when you allow things to unfold without forcing or resisting. You might be surprised by the peace, the joy, and even the magic that awaits you on the other side of surrender.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep letting go of what no longer serves you.